Welcome back. So now that we have this set up, we have a nav bar, we can click different areas right here. I just want to tell you guys, when I click the customer link, what I expect as a user of the system is actually a link looking something like this in my mind. So when I click the customer's link, I would expect that I go to see a list of customers, and I expect the link in the URL to be something like this. The cool thing is that would be easy for me to now copy into another browser or into a new tab or even send in a mail, and then people could easily go to the customer's list if they wanted to. Right? If I click the home link, I would expect the link to look something like this, where I only have the name of my site, in this case localhost, but the name of my website, and then I would go to the root, right, of my site. So we need to figure out how we can do this. How can we set up routing in our system? First of all, let's get rid of all of this code we have already, and just because we want to start using routing instead. So as I said earlier, the app component HTML is going to be pretty much blank except for routing and the app navbar. We'll get back to the routing part, but now there's nothing in here except the navbar with our different links. Sweet. Next step is we'll jump into Angular.io and we'll find some information about routing. Now, to find this, you'll go into Angular.io and find the Getting Started, and right below Getting Started there's the hero tutorial that I talked about earlier, and there's actually a small link about routing down here. Now, when you click that, we can see a lot of information about how routing works, and the first thing you guys should consider is adding routing to your project, right? So this is how you can do that. You can run a simple command like this. If you don't already have routing installed in your project, you just run this ng command. Now there's a lot more information about routing you can start by reading, but I think just jumping down here is the most important part. So I'm just going to copy that command and pasting it in here. It's going to do a few things. It's going to add a new file called app routing module. So this is actually your first extra module you're adding, and that module, its only goal is to have work around routing, nothing else. And then it's going to update our app module as well. Let's just have a look. It's only going to add a new import right here called app routing module, and that's of course being imported right here. So that's all we're doing, and then we get this new app routing module here that we can start defining routes in our system. And think of routes again as when you do a slash something, that's a route. So you can do slash, that's the root route in a URL, or you can do slash customers, and you would probably go to the customers page, maybe slash customer slash with an ID, then you would go to a specific customer, maybe a search, maybe a filtering. That's different routes that we have available in our application. Let's scroll a bit further down. Here they explain the files that was generated for you. Sweet, sweet, but how do we actually add a route? That's the most important thing. So let's jump down to this add route area right here, and I'm just going to be lazy and copy this routes down here, and we're going to just change it as we get into our system. It belongs right below the import, but right before the ng module in the way we are building our code right now. So let's just paste it in here. Now the reason is I'm going to use that routes constant that I'm building right here inside the ng module annotation further down. So let's just import routes. Again, it's Alt Enter, and then it'll actually automatically import that for you. I'm going to change the heroes component into being my welcome component. That's the first route I'm going to build, and that route is actually going to just show up every time I go to the root of my project. The second route I want available is actually going to be slash customers. Oh, and by the way, you don't need the slash when you create the path. I forgot that. So there we go. And now I'm going to, of course, if you do the slash with nothing, you're going to the welcome component. If you're doing slash customers, you guessed it, you're going to the customer list component, right? It's that simple. So now I define two routes in my system. Now how do we use this? Well, there you have to know again a few things about Angular and how you use routes. So I'm jumping back to my code, reading further down. It says I need to do an imports inside my route module. I need to add route module.forRoot and then put in the class the constant I just defined, right? So here we are back in my app routing module. I'm going to, in the imports, add this new router module, Alt Enter again to kind of import it, and then notice I'm just doing the for root with the routes that I just created in line 7, right? Very simple stuff. The next thing I need to do as well to make this work, and I don't think they explained that well, so I'll just do it. You need to also do an export to kind of explain that other people can use your routes, other files, in the system. And there I'm going to export the actual route module right here. There we go. So these two things are requirements to start using routes in your system after you've actually added your app routing module. Cool. We're not quite there yet. So if we keep scrolling down, there's something called a router outlet. Now, I think the best way to explain the router outlet is that's kind of a placeholder where I can, depending on the route I'm in, if I'm doing /customers, I'm going to, in this router outlet, I'm going to use that position to actually show all customers. If I do /nothing, I'll use that position to show the welcome page, right? So this is just a way for us to kind of place where do you want to show the current routing module, right? So let's just put that inside. Again, I said in the beginning, the app component HTML is only going to contain the navbar and information about routing, right? So now it has these two pieces of information in here. There we go. So that's actually all I need to kind of use routing in my system. So let's try and see this actually running. So I can't use the links yet. The links aren't connected yet. We'll do that soon. But right now I can already start writing the actual URL up here. So check this out. If I write /customers up here, there we go, and I try and do an enter, poof, I get to the customer list page. Wow. What if I just remove that again? So it's actually the root page, enter, boom, I go back to the welcome page. What do you say? That's routing for you. That's how simple it is. But of course, I need to be able to click the home and the customers link up there. So let's just try and check out something called router linking. And if you go back to routing right here and scroll down a bit, there's something about adding a router link inside the code right here. So I'll jump into my navbar component. Again, notice it's so easy to figure out where I need to go. I need to go to navbar because I'm going to change information about my actual navbar. Easy stuff. Here I have a couple of A tags, which is links, and there I'm going to add this router link, and I'm explaining if I press the home link, I want to just go to the root of the application, but if I click the customers link, I'm going to go to /customers. That's actually all I needed to do. Let's save this and just have a look. If I click the customers now, boom, it'll go to the customers link. And notice it's also writing customers up here automatically. Click the home, it's going to the home page, and again, notice it automatically just went back to home. That's routing. Oh my God, it's so simple. You gotta love it. So that's actually it for this lesson. You can go and read a lot more about routing, and we will keep working on routing. And you can also start adding security in routing and some other great features. We'll get back to those later by adding some guards and stuff like that. Don't worry, we'll add those later. It'll be in extended lessons later on. What I want you guys to notice is remember that exports. I forgot that in my code, and it just gave me some crazy error in the beginning. So remember that export inside your actual app routing module. Remember to also export the router module. That's it for this lesson. See you next time. Have fun.